Baba say that he is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And sure. I'm going to. There's this saying that it is not common to the normal Kenyans, normal citizen, but the presidents who have been there, they usually say an idle Raila is a dangerous Raila. So Raila needs to be busy. So in order for you to rule your country well,
you need to keep
him busy. If you let him be idle, the guy you will not rule peacefully.
With peace,
Yeah, so actually when how people are seeing it is that when Raila is removed from the political scene, maybe, I don't know, we can call it boring. It might be boring.
I think it will be the start of interesting politics.
We might say that,
okay.
But interesting politics, how interesting politics?
Interesting in the terms of, how most people are used to not doing anything. Mostly MPs, governors, we have seen them not doing anything, but as long as this key person points them out and supports them, it's quite certain that they will win that election.
The saying of Baba Tosha, this one Tosha.
Yeah, but now it will be an open field. Everyone and anyone has an equal right to
equal opportunity
to fight for the seat. So the biasness will reduce. Also, what will definitely happen is ODM has been the only party for the longest time that has been solid.
Yeah, sure.
And one thing that will happen after these party leaders usually leave the political scene is the parties usually fall. Because parties are mostly backed by who is there. The leader of the party.
The flag bearer.
Yeah, once the flag bearer removes himself from politics, we have seen it happening with PNU. Yeah. At some point, it was the greatest. KANU, Jubilee, at some point. So we have seen it repeated itself. There are multiple times after that key person gets out, the entire party dissolves, people move out of the party.
Yeah. And so many things.
Yeah.
But don't you think, if you look at the dynamics of ODM, don't you think that in one way it's okay? I'm not supporting that party in one way or the other, but don't you think it's kind of different in that you also look at who is in that party? Apart from the flag bearer, we also have some other key players in the party that will say, even though it's history has dictated that when the flag bearer gets out of the scene, this party it has high probability or high chances of collapsing. But I don't really think it will be the case this time.
Because why I strongly feel it will be the case this time is because one person that people definitely know, Raila, upon receiving that AU job, will be fronted as the Azimio. Let's not talk about even ODM to be specific, but Azimio flag bearer. It will be the one Kalonzo Musyoka. And if he's fronted there to be the flag bearer for Azimio, that means that he will run with his party, his own party Wiper. Meaning ODM will be just a side party. And in most alliances, the party that has the president flag bearer is usually the more of the stronger party than the other ones. It's like for the case of Kenya Kwanza, like UDA was big and everyone wanted to be part of it because the flag bearer was flying with it. Same thing happened with for Azimio. Most people would side with ODM
more than these other
Jubilee
parties
and these other small parties. So it's just bound to happen because they might not have an ODM presidential candidate.
Okay, but they might have a running mate, ODM running mate.
Maybe
which
if we see
is another
ODM
factor which might make it not strong as it was, but still in the political scene.
So who do you think will make the best? Or who do you think
we don't really know who will. But as of now, we can speculate. We will say maybe between The likes of, we have great people there. The likes of people like Aparanya.
Yeah.
They might make good running mates, or they can even still go with the mother Karua. We don't know, even though she's not in ODM, but
She might still get out.
that is if she has an history of getting out.
And I think she will get out this time because maybe one of the deals they made was her to be president this time, and she's not. She's already set aside because was it late last year there was some friction in Azimio party because you'd see on one side Kalonzo speaking this way, on the other side
Kalonzo has always been speaking that way.
Mother Karua on the other side.
Okay.
So there's been a little bit of friction. You can tell the two of them are more. They are both eyeing for this specific position.
Maybe they were clout chasing. Don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying that as a joke. But maybe they were clout chasing. But frictions are bound to be there. Mother, she's very famous for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, but what I know of her, the history that she has is that she will get out.
Yeah.
So how she might go. But with Kalonzo, actually, you say that you have a problem with you didn't really mention it, but it's like you have a problem with his popularity.
Oh, I have a problem because he's not that popular.
He's not that popular.
Yeah, he's not that popular, and they are pushing for him to be. Neither is Mother Karua popular, but they are pushing him to be the flag bearer of the Azimio coalition in Hall. That shows you how much big of a gap Raila will be leaving, and how big of a gap he will be leaving. And there's no person that he left to occupy that gap. And one of the biggest problem with these people who are really influential or big, they never leave someone to fill their gaps.
Yeah.
Most of the time is they leave a bigger gap that can't be filled. Other times is they don't nurture anyone to fill that gap also.
But you see, what was I going to say? Though you see, with his popularity, the Kalonzo guy, even the deputy president, even though Kalonzo has been in the political scene for a very long time, we have to give it to him. We see people like Rigiji, the deputy president. I didn't know that guy until he was selected to be the running mate. And Kalonzo, I've lived to know him, but he's not. People know him, but people don't vote for him. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
But I might say, with popularity here, since Raila is not there, we might look for someone else. The people
automatically,
will look for someone else who will fill that gap.
Yeah.
And if he's the one who is there or close to that, to fill that gap, then people will go for him. Yeah. So right now, let us not judge him based on his popularity currently.
Yeah.
But we can give him benefit of doubt. He might be a good one. Or maybe Baba might return. Don't know. Might choose to resign. Though it's difficult. That is if he gets the seat.
If he gets the seat, that's the end of him. Because one of the things of being occupying such a position.
Don't just call it the end of him. Okay. Continue.
If he occupies that position in the AU, one of the few things you're supposed to do is not associate yourself with local or politics directly. You're not supposed to. You completely need to separate yourself because that position is more of you're more of how may I call it, more of a delegate,
diplomatic.
It's more of a diplomatic position. You're not supposed to associate yourself with politics directly,
with the local. Okay, I understand.
So it will cut him off completely, and if he gets that position, he'll probably do it till retirement.
Retirement or okay. Retirement for the 2 terms.
Yeah, he'll probably do it the 2 terms until he retires. And as you've said, people will look for someone else, but I still think what the people want is not what Kalonzo is.
People want someone like Raila.
People would want someone who portrays himself as a firm leader because Kalonzo, in record, is a leader who's not usually firm.
He's a deal cutter.
He's a deal cutter. So we currently want, people want a leader that will fight for them because they're under a government that is oppressing them in a way. And they are looking for this sort of messiah from a leader.
Who do you think might be that person? Or
What I
is
think,
just someone who will come out at that time?
I think it will be like a messiah who we don't know the person, and the person will just avail themselves, and the people
We don't have signs of the Messiah. Even in the Bible, we were told that if you see these signs, you know he's the Messiah.
Kalonzo might be the John Baptist of.
Oh, so he will be prepared.
He might be the kingmaker, but not the king.
So will be the king. I'm really, I really hope you see Oparanya.
Oparanya has a potential of becoming that guy, because one thing about you becoming, let's just be clear with what we're talking about. One thing for you to become a potential candidate in Kenya, because people vote along tribal lanes.
Okay.
So first of all, you need to have your regional backing. So
Yeah, sure.
Does Kalonzo have it? Yes, he does.
Yeah, it does.
Does Oparanya have it? Yes, they both have regional backing. But now,
though Oparanya doesn't have it fully.
He doesn't have it fully. But now when it comes to
numbers,
Oparanya beats Kalonzo because of where he comes from. They are minorities, but where Oparanya comes from, they are majorities. Same with what happened to Ruto. Not every Kalenjin was for him. 70% of them voted for him, 30% voted for Raila. That shows you not everyone was for him, but the fact that you have a majority, you know, you come from a majority tribe, that gives you the numbers automatically. Yeah. So,
but in as much as, you know, there's this assumption that these people, okay, but you know, the problem with the people who vote for Raila is that they don't vote for Azimio, they don't vote for ODM.
Okay.
If Raila was independent, these people could have still given him the vote
for him. Yeah.
So these people are voting for
an individual.
Yeah. So if you look at it, that maybe I had it earlier. I was assuming that these people voted for Azimio, so they'll still vote for Azimio and another patronage.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that might be the case. Even though what I know is that these people will want to vote out the government.
Yeah.
That will now be the determination to get another leader into that scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, the determination to kick out the government might cause another leader to rise, or might put the Azimio, if still it will exist, the coalition it will still give it relevance.
Yeah. And some few people might exit government, because we have seen that happening. Some few people might exit government and join this other side for their own interest, because for most politicians, they calculate themselves, and most visionary politicians, at least, they calculate their steps early enough and place themselves in situations where it will make them grow, because the best place for you to grow is opposition, even if they know that whoever will be on going against the president, the current president, might not win, but they will just want to align themselves with that opposition cause to garner the numbers. Because we have seen guys like Sifuna gathering numbers.
The guy has really gathered numbers.
Yeah, just by being opposition and opposing such a government. So, yeah.
But I think he'll really need to give it. Let me not say that, but he needs to write a check to Citizen TV.
Why?
Okay, to these media stations. No, let me not.
Okay.
It's just a joke on a lighter note. The media's really helped him.
Yeah, well,
being called in these media houses, and yeah,
but they were interesting. They are usually interesting conversations. Mostly the ones
they are 100%.
Boni Khalwale and Sifuna.
Not only Boni, but me. I'll just I'm generally, for Sifuna. Yeah. Whenever you see him, you just know it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
So yeah, he has garnered a lot of numbers just by being strong on opposition, and we'll see some few people in opposition join government, of course, to get their interests, and the other people will leave government to join opposition. So
whom do you think might leave government?
Currently, I don't see anyone leaving government, but strategically, if any of these likes of Wetangula want a future in politics, they'll have to
To leave.
leave government and join opposition one way or the other. Because you have to look ahead, and you know that this president will one day leave office. And if you have not garnered your numbers enough to look for the future, you will be rendered useless.
But what's okay? I don't want to.
Okay.
What's the future of a guy like Weta, or maybe Madividi?
The best they can, if they stay in government, which I think they will, the best they will have for their future is maybe if they get a lot of money in these seats and just go to business. That's the best they can get. I don't see their future past that if they decide to remain pro-government. But now if they
they
decide
switch.
to switch sides, they could possibly, a guy like Weta could possibly be a deputy president in another world.
Yeah, even though those guys, they really do have leverage, and I think they are sought after people. As in, they are these are the guys that people are really looking for them.
Yeah.
Since that it's rumored out there that they made Ruto the president.
king, yeah.
Yeah, so they really have leverage. So I think they can switch or they cannot switch, depending on their needs when that time reaches.
Yeah.
So if their needs wouldn't have been met, because they might switch or not.
But they might still remain in government and switch up the same way Ruto did. He was the deputy president, but still opposing a government that he's in. So they might do that as well, pull that card. Maybe the last days of the second term, if Ruto wins, the last days of his turn, they might decide
Second, why did you say second term?
if he wins,
Okay,
if he wins, which probably he will.
Okay.
So they might decide to switch sides at that specific time towards the end, just to garner the people, so that the next time they strategically become deputy presidents or even go for the president's seat.
Oh. You've said that he will win. Okay, wait first. There's this thing that usually happens. It's so common in our government that once a president has gotten into
power,
he must finish his second term because he has all the system, he has all the power. To me, I usually look at it and I feel bad, by the way, that this person, whenever he gets there, he'll manipulate everything in his favor.
In his favor.
And it brings us down to the system that is being used, especially during elections.
Yeah.
They really count on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really count on that system to be on their favor or to be on their side.
Yeah.
So it is just a primitive suggestion. If maybe that system can be upgraded, or we look into another different system.
But for me, I don't think he will win. Most people think he will win because of rigging. For me, I think for him to win, he'll need the numbers of the people, because you can't just be a president without the numbers. And one thing is, currently he has his own regional backing, even in as much as he is unpopular because of the economic policies, the tax policies, but still he has his regional backing. So the remaining thing is for him to get another majority regional backing, and he would have already secured his position. So one of the places he's currently visiting multiple times is the Western region. And for the people of Western, their interests are being met. You can see Mumia Sugar is running, is up and running. We have been promised, the Western has been promised.
But do you think it will run, or do you think it's another PR show?
I've been in Western and it's currently running. One thing that will limit it is the farmers who owned large pieces of land have started selling them, and the raw material will be an issue. But I feel if the demand is called for, If the demand becomes so high for the raw materials, farmers would revert back to it because they're currently planting maize at large scale. Currently, it's running. Most of
And
the shelves in Western, you'd find the sugar. It's either Mumias or Nzoia.
okay,
Okay.
it's good. It's running.
Yeah.
One, me, I'm not worried about it running or not. It's it's a government parastatal.
Yeah, it is.
We know history of government parastatals here in Kenya.
Yeah.
The only beneficial parastatal you can say is KRA.
Yeah, KRA, KCB. You can quite just
just a
them.
few.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah, and we know the reason that they are benefiting or they are profiting.
Yeah.
And now, speaking of Mumias, how I see it is just like Mumias is another scapegoat that is being used by every politician every 5 years to use it. It's like a campaign strategy that they'll use Mumias to come and gain votes, to come and get trust of those people. But eventually, after this certain time, maybe it will be run down by people, or itself, it will not manage to keep up.
But when you look at it, the few things that was stopping it from running is, one thing is it owed the government a lot of money.
Not the government.
There's one part of it is it owed the government a lot of money, and the government pardoned it from the loans. It literally just cancelled the loans. It pardoned it. Yes, I'm aware there's farmers who are unpaid, all of that. But the large part of it was it not running, because most corporations have loans. Most corporations and companies
do you know how much
have a history of not paying their suppliers. But first of all, the government pardoned it.
Yeah.
Secondly, he made sure, in whatever way, I remember when he was talking about Mambo ni Matatu, he made sure that everyone who had sued the company withdrew their lawsuits. So it's free. It's literally a free company. Yes, it has all these debts.
Do you know how much the debt is?
Currently, I'm not aware. But the government, most part of it was actually, because you know how these parastatals works. So these are how they work.
I've forgotten the figure, but it was above 4 billion.
But I wanted to explain to you how how the parastatals works. So they have this deficit that loans, whatever, then they're unable to run. So the government just supplies them with money, and they sort everything out.
Sure.
So most part of it was what they owed the government, because they were literally surviving by the government, just like any other.
Meaning they were not generating
profits. Yeah, just like any other government corporation, they were just surviving on handouts and loans given by the government, which they have been pardoned. Yes, it will not be easy to just go back to the former glory or to restore its former glory, but it's a step in the right direction. So one thing that the president had, I'm not even campaigning for him, but one thing that the president had said he will do is he wanted to privatize it. And
I remember.
Most of the leaders were against it. And to the people now, do the people care whether it's government owned or private owned? At the end of the day, the people just want jobs. If they are going to work there, the people just want to sell their raw materials, which is sugarcane. Whoever owns it is not beneficial for the citizens directly.
Yeah. But do you know the people who are still planting sugarcanes? Mumias has not been running for over 5 years, right?
Yeah.
They were still selling.
Yeah, but some few people, most of them who were selling to Mumias stopped. There are people who still
there are people who still grow sugarcane. Even when Mumias was not, they were selling to other
companies, which they are currently still doing it because they have agreements and everything.
Yeah.
But if there is need if the Mumias sugar revamps itself and demands large raw materials, they will grow and they will supply it because it's easier for them. Because they were supplying to Nzoia, they were supplying to Cabras, which isn't close to where their farms are.
It's not them taking the sugarcane, it's the companies coming for the sugarcane.
Yeah.
So what will make them now switch from these companies to this one?
They'll have to offer favorable deals.
Which might not be, maybe it might be expensive to the company again.
Yeah.
Now, you see, my problem with this sugar company is that I personally have always been seeing it as just
An scapegoat. Yeah.
a scapegoat it's just a PR show.
Yeah.
That this company we are living in denial that this company it's just bound. Maybe we should just let it go.
Yeah, but currently there are investors who have already come in place.
Sure, investors usually come.
And in the past, we have seen investors who have wanted to buy the land and just do something else with it.
Yeah.
But now currently, the current investor is willing to. I don't think it will go back to its former glory, but it might try
Because
to.
even you speaking of former glory, it was not that glory was shining.
It was
The
shining.
glory was only shining for the people, but not for the company.
At some point, before whatever happened, because mostly it was just corruption. At some point, it was one of the most profitable companies.
Parastatal.
Most profitable companies in Kenya, because currently we have only left it for Safaricom, which is not that profitable. And they were literally at a point where they were
very profitable.
Currently, it's not that profitable.
Or its profit has reduced, but it's profitable.
Literally, okay, it's profitable, but not that profitable. I'm saying in terms of we don't have a lot of companies that are competing with Safaricom in terms of profits. So
we really do.
Okay.
If you go into the banking sector, the banks are.
How much do you think they make?
I don't have the figures.
So that's why I'm saying it's not that profitable as we may imagine it to be. And there was a time where they were literally competing with Safaricom. There was a time where it was the most profitable.
Maybe Safaricom was low at that time. Maybe you can see competing.
I'm
maybe
speaking about pre-M-Pesa times.
I remember. I do agree. There was times maybe it was among the most profitable because you did not have Cabras. Maybe you did not have Ndiwa. Maybe you did not have these other companies. So it was like, actually, that's among the reason, because we did not have sugar coming from Uganda. We did not have sugar coming from Egypt. So competition was not there for Mumias. Now competition is there, and our baby boy Mumias does not want to agree that its time has ended. Mike Jordan has gone. It's now LeBron's time.
Yeah.
So
that might be the case because right now there are other companies. So it won't be that easy for them. There's competition. There's sugar coming outside.
And there was a time, actually there was a time Mumias, in 2016, 2017, there was a time Mumias rose. I think it was running. But sugar coming from Uganda, even though the government imposed an embargo from sugar coming from Uganda because it was cheaper.
It was
than
super
Mumias.
cheap, yeah.
So they were trying to protect Mumias.
Yeah.
And we see that we have to agree sugar coming from these other parts or from Egypt is much cheaper than sugar that we're getting here. And it's not that the quality is higher than these other.
Yeah, true.
So maybe, But to me, if asked for an idea, people of Mumias, you'll have to forgive me, but that company, the best that can be done is maybe they shut it down and come up with another thing.
Well, they might do that. They might not.
That land is so huge. If you do some other things, we can't just really put our. It's the same way these governments, these people are campaigning to revive the paper industry, the pen paper industry, and we all knew that this thing is quite impossible. Even though they wanted to allocate some money for raising pen paper. It was 2013 campaign, 2017. I don't know if you have it in mind.
Okay.
But they wanted to revive pen paper. And everybody knew, yes, you want to revive pen paper. That is something that will really impress the locals there because they'll get their jobs back. But we know that this thing will not work.
Yeah, but so, why not work?
One, there are so many factors. Why should you revive pen paper? Have you ever had a crisis of shortage of books or papers in Kenya? Since pen paper died, as we know, that was the main thing that pen paper was doing, were creating paper. So they were manufacturing or whatever they were doing, papers.
But it would help in terms of us not importing.
But importing is not even expensive than that. Actually, we don't even among the
But
things we
in
do not
terms of,
have enough raw materials to support it.
but I'm not talking in terms of pan paper, but in terms of even Mumias and Nzoya, because it's struggling as well. If they run, that means people get jobs, no matter how expensive the sugar is. Because ideally, we are in a region where things are much more cheaper in the other places than in Kenya. But if they run, it will be beneficial for the economy as well, because these are taxpayers paying tax.
Okay,
And the spending nature of that area will increase. It will literally create an entire, one industry creates other industries, people who fix the tractors. It will create an entire economy from
but
that.
at what expense?
It's worth it if they run, and it's completely worth it. Yes,
well,
yes, it's quite expensive to revamp them and bring them back on, but it's worth it. Because I was talking to the few locals who were there during the time when the pan paper was running, and how Webuye was becoming more of a hub. And after that, it has completely died. The economy of that area died. Same with Mumias.
There's always this problem that when a company is running, the employee will not feel the pain of the employer or the entrepreneur. So at the end of the day, what the employee will need is his paycheck.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether the company is getting profits or not.
Yeah.
So with the locals of Webuye, for them, they just want profits. They just want
their paycheck.
But literally, if you look at the bigger picture, this company is not bringing in profits. What should you do?
In terms of profits, in my view, it's more of now the company. You can make it make profits. But if that's why I'm pro privatizing some of them, because ideally, even if people remain with them, or the government owns it and it does not make profit, either way, no one is benefiting.
Actually, do you know privatization might not be a solution? KQ was privatized. That has never solved the problem.
So KQ wasn't privatized, but majority
partially
yes,
privatized. And the other companies that have been privatized, that did not make them run up again properly. There's an idea that they want to privatize KPLC.
But the issue is with like companies like KQ, they did not completely privatize it. So you're leaving it, not majority of it is owned by the private sector, and government still is the majority shareholder, but the rest is distributed to the private sector. And now the board of directors are mostly government appointed. And the tenders with KQ, it was more of a tendering issue. So they don't own most of their planes, just like most airlines. But now, since the people who give those tenders literally give themselves back, they give them at a price where KQ can never make profit.
Okay.
So if it's fully privatized and it's interest of stakeholders, it will be quite easy for it to manage.
Do you have an example of an industry that was privatized and it saved it from collapsing?
In Kenya, I don't have an example of any, but how I might tell that they might work after being privatized is most of these companies, they usually fall because of corruption. It's literally just purely corruption. The people who are appointed, they are not qualified. They're
and all sorts of.
But if a company is more of, let's use the example of Safaricom. Safaricom, GOK is a big shareholder of Safaricom, but it's more of a private company and it's making a lot of money. And the government is benefiting from it, although it's owning a small share. I heard it's the biggest shareholder. Individual shareholder. So government is earning from Safaricom as a whole, but it's more privatized and not.
So, in short, about Safari, it's just like I can have my own company, but you have shares in it. That doesn't mean you run my company. And that does not mean you own
my company.
You own my company. So my point is, these companies, these parastatals, is the same as when you speak about now these government parastatals. It's the same as things speaking with the universities.
Okay.
These things, they're not turning in profits. Mumias Sugar. The only thing, the only good thing that it will do, it will support or it will keep the economy of that area running.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, we're not getting anything, any good figures from it.
Yeah.
If you look at it from a perspective of an economist, that thing should be shut down and think of another business idea. And if you want to, let's say they want to or they've privatized it. You see, the people who have the debts, these debts need to be cleared.
So when an investor buys a company, you buy the debt also.
Yeah.
So it's part of it for you to buy the debt.
So the investor has to pay these debts.
Yeah.
And he will pay the debts. That's good. But for him, I don't know what strategy that person has. Or maybe, you know, how these government deals work. Maybe it's a deal with the government. You never know.
The funny thing is, in Kenya currently, we have a large demand for sugarcane. That's why we are actually importing sugarcane currently, because the demand is
demand of sugar.
These other companies you have mentioned, they're not really contributing a lot of it. And so that's why we import. So if it was to be revamped, of which I think it won't, but if it was to be returned back to its former glory, I feel like it will be profitable. Because at the end of the day, even the sugarcane we buy from Uganda, the so-called cartels who buy it from Uganda and resell it in Kenya, it's not that they're selling it at a cheap price.
They're selling at the market price.
The market price. They're actually just benefiting from that factor that they are buying it cheaply and selling it at the market price.
Yeah, but that's because the demand is still
high. So, yeah.
But when you bring in Mumias, how will the demand go low now? Because you've said that these farmers who are planting, the farmers who are still planting, they're supplying to these companies. Now, if they switch to Mumias, that means that these companies will be deprived of their suppliers.
How I look at it is, it's more of most farmers are there's some farmers who switched to planting maize, which is not it's not a profitable business in Kenya because of how the government manipulates and sets prices for maize. So it's not that profitable. And if they were to switch to sugarcane, which was more profitable, because the Mumias region, or even Kakamega at large, they used to be sugarcane planting. Most people never planted maize. Maize was left for Kitale, maize was left for Bungoma. A lot of people never planted maize in Kakamega region. So if it was returned back and people saw this planting maize is profitable, people will just automatically switch back to it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's hope.